What's going on? What's going on? This is Dwayne Nettles, aka Mr. Nettles. I'm gonna pass it to my co-host on the left.
Listen, man, it's your boy Maximilian, aka Maximilian Obadiah Speed, aka Max Speed. Listen, man, you know the vibes, man. Let's get it.
All right, and collectively we make up the Last in Hip Hop podcast. Shout out to our co-host in his absence today, King Jose Rivera, handling some personal business. But he's here in spirit, and we're gonna keep the conversation going. Just for the sake of transparency, we've tried to record this video at least three times. But we back. We're gonna grind through it. We're gonna keep it going. So what we're gonna do today, this is episode 6 entitled Mental Wealth, and we're just gonna do an abbreviated mini episode. A little bit different today. We're gonna kind of confine things together. But essentially, when we talk about mental health in the Black community specifically, we're gonna mention one of our guys, the guy Kanye West, as he's been in the news a lot lately, handling some mental health things as well. Then we're gonna move into our false narrative, and then we're gonna wrap up with our top 5. Oh, so just to jump right into it, we're gonna let's start with our boy. Let's start with our boy Kanye.
Yes, sir.
So Kanye West recently is running for president.
that even sounds funny. Like, Kanye West running for president. Like,
but even with that being said, Kanye recently has made some controversial statements, to say the least, in his rally in my home state of South Carolina, of all places, in Charleston. Made some statements about Harriet Tubman. Made some aggressive statements towards some people in the crowd. A lot of, I guess the best way to describe it is maybe like erratic behavior, kind of outbursty. So it's kind of scattered. It's kind of all over the place. And then to follow that up, the series of tweets he's been sending out about the Kardashian family and them wanting to get out, being about Kanye West, and they want to send him away. Him being on a rant, so it was just a lot of information coming out. So it was kind of crazy to see initially.
wait, a lot. It's like I just want to see my man. Like, it seems like all Kanye rants, like he just blurts out. Like, my thing is, just give me some extra information. Like, okay, George Bush doesn't like Black people. What else? What else? Some of the things he said through the years.
Beyonce
Okay,
had the greatest video of all time.
yeah, he just blurts it out, like, and then coming, fast forward to now, Harriet Tubman actually didn't freeze. Like, people gonna look at you like, oh, really? Like, what? What are you talking about?
Oh, no, slavery was a choice. Slavery was a choice.
Slavery was another one. Slavery was Kanye. Tell us why.
But you know what, though, Max? I think that's the thing, though. I think now that it's out in the open that Kanye West suffers from bipolar disorder, I think it gives us the outsiders, we have a little more context as to where some of these things come from, I guess.
Right.
I guess initially, we look at Kanye West and, we look at him as a mega successful superstar. The word genius gets thrown around a lot. But so we see this functioning adult that has been mega successful, who's mega creative, and who is very, I would say very, very thoughtful and very very meticulous in the way he constructs things and ideas when it comes to his music. Right. So I think when that doesn't come over in his speech, sometimes we look at it as like, oh, this dude crazy. Like, he's saying stuff, and as if he's saying it from a constructed, like, well put together place.
Right.
So I think these things come out when he's going through really the polls, like when he's extremely up or if he's
Yeah.
extremely down. So I think these things come out. But I think I think it's a manifestation of his mental health issue.
Right.
But so I think I think having the context, it makes it a little more understanding. But I think sometimes the media looks at it and we just take it for face value, like this is a well thought out guy. He's taking his notes and like he has like I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's what it is. I think Kanye comes out and like and just shoots
He's just
just
coming off
shoots
the
out
hip. He
whatever
shoots out.
comes
He
in his
shooting
head.
from the hip. He's shooting from the hip, man. Like, go on, Kanye. Like I said, man, I just wanted him to just explain these things so people just don't, you know what I mean? Just
I don't
go
no
off.
no man, I don't know if there's an explanation though. I think it's just I think matter of fact, I remember watching the interview he did with I can't remember who he was on. I can't remember who he was on with Fallon, Letterman, so somebody he was on with, and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about his bipolar, and he was like, they was asking him about his moves. He like, well, do you have like, he like when he like I get revved up. He like I just get real. He like I'm not like a person who's real down. He's like I'm the reverse. He's like I get amped up. So I get real heightened, like elevated. And you say
Mm-hmm.
he said I just shoot. He's like, I just speak from the heart and I just throw it out there. And he said something real interesting. He's like, some people with bipolar, they get depressed and they'll like think about killing themselves. But he said he literally
Right.
he said I get real ramped up. He said I'll say like, yeah, I'm gonna kill myself. He said I'll say it, and he said I won't do it because I got it out. I said it. And that's it. He's like I don't have the lows. I just have extreme highs. So so even he recognizes that he gets amped up and shoots
Is that
himself out.
not
So
strange to you?
I don't know if it's strange, but I think it's just I think that's his I think that's a manifestation of his mental illness. I think he gets ramped up and it doesn't come from a constructed place. It comes from I'm ramped up, I'm bipolar, these feelings in my head. So versus letting them dance around, I just shoot them out there. I just shoot them out there. But I think the thing is though, I think the difference is Kanye West has this large platform. So you see this guy suffering with mental illness, bipolar specifically. So you see these things going on, and the world's there to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Right.
I think it's interesting. But I think the dangerous part is the world's here to watch. But I don't know if people are taking it serious enough to get Kanye West the necessary the help and guidance he needs per se. You know.
Right.
I think that
Mm-hmm.
kind of ties into just being again being black in America. Mental health in the black community ain't something that the black community has necessarily taken seriously or even acknowledged a lot of times.
Yeah. And we spoke about, it not being, having the access to, those types of, you know, um,
Resources.
so yeah, having the access to therapists in the neighborhoods and things like that.
Yeah, and I think it does stem from that. Like we didn't necessarily have not having access, looking at it as looking at mental illness as something that was almost demonic. Like you need to pray this away. Um, and even people that have identified, like something's going on. A lot of people, I feel like a lot of people in our community feel like I don't have the monetary resources to
Right.
fund this. Like
Yeah.
getting mental health help is almost looked at as this is what rich people do. Like they have the funds, they have the
Yeah.
resources to tap into these things. I don't necessarily have that. So they I think a lot of us run from because like I can't even afford this. Like versus like looking into the resources, tapping into free
Yeah.
resources and getting what you need.
Yeah. And having, talk about, going back to slavery, us being tough and look at what we've
Right.
been through the years. Civil rights, different, eras of, what I'm saying? Like right now, police brutality, mass incarceration, all these
Right.
things. We built to be tough, like not to deal with those issues. Like, man, I'm tough. I ain't really gotta, what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm good. Hold it all in.
Right. I
You
think that's a big thing too. I think, like especially African Americans, in this country, like since we got here, it's been it's been thrusted upon us like, you know what, you be strong or you die.
Right. Yeah, like
Like
yeah,
you
I'm
only like
yo,
the
like for
only
real, like
your only means of
I'm strong.
survival
Like I
is
can handle
to be strong and be strong and push through it. You're like
it. Right.
and you'll live. So I think, I think black people in this country specifically like have just been taught, be strong, be strong, be strong. Like you can get
Be
through it, you
strong.
can get through it.
You can handle it.
And
You
those
you
are
good.
all well and good. But I think there's times when you don't
Ah,
want to be
that's too much though,
you don't
Wayne.
want to be you don't want to be
It's
strong.
too much. It's too much. You get shot like 9 times. They like, yo, listen,
You'll bounce
you
back.
just go to the hospital. You be all right.
You'll
You know what
bounce
I'm
back.
saying? Like, I just got shot 10
Look
times.
at 50. Look at 50.
No, it's like, no, hold on. It's like we got to go through like 20 years of jail, of prison, get shot.
Be
It's
shot.
like we got to go through death in order, like, to be. I
Be
mean,
shot.
it's kind of like
Be
a
abused. Be
blessing and a
abused.
curse at the same time. Like, yes, you want to be strong,
Yeah.
but it's like, everybody
Everybody got a breaking point.
at a breaking point.
And everybody need help sometimes. Like I can't. Like, do I have to be strong all the time?
Yeah, like I need a break. You know what I'm saying? I need a
Right.
break. You know what I mean? Like it's
And
crazy.
I think it hard too. Like being a black male specifically. I think you see this need to be. There's this need like from the time you're really shortly after adolescence. Like you learn quickly. Like and it's funny. I remember. I guess this from being an educator. I remember somebody asked me one time, like, can you remember when your teachers stopped treating you like they treated the girls? But, I remember like very specifically like being very young in in classrooms, like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, like even third grade. There's still this what's the word I'm looking for? There's still this young spirit that people look at young black boys with when they're very young. They still look at
Explain
them
that.
as they still look at them as like children. They're cute. This cute, this
Right.
innocent, like this innocent idea. Like this is a child. But like somewhere, I don't know what it is. I don't know, somewhere around fourth, fifth grade, like, and I think when boys start going into into puberty and start coming into start coming into manhood in a sense,
Uh-huh.
your voice start changing. Even the people teaching you begin to look at you a little bit different. They start treating you a little more. They
Mm.
start treating you more, a little more aggressive. You'll start hearing
Mm.
ideas like "man up," and you'll just start hearing these things like even as a child, like you be like, "Yo, like
Yeah.
why are we thrusting these adult ideas on young children?" And why are the people that teaching us are beginning to look at us different? I remember one time specifically, Max. This is crazy, right? I remember seeing one of my old teachers. I hadn't seen her in years. Like taught me in third grade. So I was probably 20 something at the time when I saw her. I ran to her at the library and I saw her, and like my first instinct was like, hey, going up to her to speak to her, right? And at first she was she jumped back a little bit, and I was like, and it hit me at that moment. It hit me like, you know what? Like she doesn't view me as that 9-year old anymore. Like,
Mm.
so for a second, she even had to catch herself like, yo, who is this like approaching me, right? And as she caught herself, she was kind of like, it kind of took her back. It was like, oh my God. But to even see the switch, like, you like, yo, just to think about that, just as a person, I'm still Dwayne,
Mm-hmm.
the person she taught at 9 years old.
Right.
But just because of time and me growing into a man, like her first instinct was completely different. Like she had to I had to rewind and realize who I was
Yeah.
to
Like,
to even get there. So like it's weird, man. But you see this like, especially working in schools. I've seen so many boys like, and really girls too. I see young black kids treated. They are treated like as if they're older than they really are.
yeah.
Like we're thrusted
It,
into adulthood like
yeah, it's
super early.
definitely thrusted in. I just thought about that Meek Mill song, Other Side of America, right?
Mm.
And the reason why is because it really is two different Americas. Like, you have the other side where it's, privileged, even growing up in the middle class in the black community is kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, how do you, it's, I guess where I'm going is like, how do you
navigate?
You have to have a certain amount of wealth or to not have that to go through. It's like, once you're black, it's just what it doesn't matter how much money you have. Like, you know what I mean? It's definitely two Americas. Like, once you're black, it's like you got to go through all those stigmas.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? You got to go through all of that. You know.
Right.
So.
I think even that, like that's a level of, it's a level of trauma. So it puts you in a place where you like, the mental health need is like, I think, in our community, I think it's even more of a need, But I think our community like runs from it, or denies it, or just doesn't have an understanding. I even feel like people that even identify like something's not right. Like, I know something, I can't put a finger on it and I can't pinpoint it because I'm not a doctor, but I know I don't feel right. But I think even people who are there are apprehensive about seeking help because it's almost like, well, if I verbalize this out loud and say I need the help, how are the people around me gonna look at me?
Right.
Like, am I crazy? Are people gonna say I'm crazy? Like, I don't want to be identified as that. So a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people just deal with, I'll deal with this
just
internally.
Deal with it.
Just so I don't gotta deal with the stigma of people thinking I'm crazy.
I gotta deal with the he say, she say. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
People that's close to me, you gotta hear their mouth. Like, you know what I mean? So I dig it. I understand it. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
But then again, it's like, we were taught to just be strong and deal with everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
it's crazy, man. And back to Kanye. Like, I guess back to from Kanye, and just that. Well, really, not even just Kanye. Just the idea of celebrity.
mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people in our community look at these people, when we can see these people, and especially now, like the older I've gotten, the more I've been able to identify and see signs. Like, I can see it, and I think a lot of times we forget that these are people. Like, they're still real people. So a lot of times I see stuff and I'm like, oh, I can see you displaying certain traits or different characters, different things you're doing, and you can start to identify, like, this person might be suffering with this, or this person might have like some underlying unaddressed like trauma. But you see a lot of people like, they got all that money, they got all that success, they got all that wealth. Like, what they depressed about? Like, what? You see it all the time.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Like, it's money can't save you. And that's what people think. Like, money is the savior. Like, once you're anointed with money, you're saved. You go on to the next.
Right. You're washed clean of all your worries.
Especially on this life. In this life, you're saved. Like, you know what I mean? Money is like the worst thing you can do is be broke.
Right. Right. That's the being broke is the only disease for Black Americans.
Like people, like people. I think I don't want to go too deep, but just think about it, huh?
What you about to say?
Think about the. I thought of the street culture, right? The code.
Oh yeah. Right.
Think about like people risk going to jail and risking their lives. The livelihood. There's only two ways to end up.
For the pursuit of money.
Death and prison. But for that mighty dollars, like, I'd rather. And so after the fact, it's like, I did all that, and what did it?
What I get from it?
What was the outcome?
But, I think that's a lot. I think that speaks a lot to I guess the state of our community, and to seeing like like the pursuit of gain has people blinded to the fact that once I gain, like you said, these platforms, almost like, once I gain this amount, I'll be good.
Yeah.
Like, then when you get there, you're like, okay, when I gain this amount, I'll be good.
That's why I don't think the same about fame and fortune. I don't think the same. Like, you want to be, like, don't get me wrong, like, you want to obtain, a certain level of success. And but I mean, like, as far as like the notoriety, being famous, like, people know who you are, and it comes with so much.
It comes to the level. Listen. the money you make, listen, you paying for it one way or another. Like, but I think this thing we forget though. I think we tend to forget that these are real people, but at the same time, like once you elevate to that certain level of success, certain level of fame, and once you gain that platform, I think it opens you up. Like you're still a real person, but it opens you up for your life to be on display.
Right.
So I think when people are dealing with stuff on levels like this, like people, like you're there to witness it. So it's like especially in today's generation, like with social media, like you have more access to people than ever. So I think even that in itself, I think social media has like
oh man,
a lot of people's
it's
mental
heightened.
health spiraling, like it's really spiraling.
Heightened crazy.
Because now you got people comparing themselves to what other people are doing, or what other people look like they're doing, and then you have these like people battling like self-worth and like, oh, I'm not doing enough, and like it's
and people,
crazy.
And we talked about Nick Cannon, like, you know what I'm saying, like people
another
thrust you in position, you know, you fighting for the culture, and you know, as soon as you don't do something the culture think you should do, it's like, you know, get him out of here. He's
But look, even crazier, Max, like you do what you think is right, and then the system itself rebels against you. So then when the system rebels, then all right, then you're like, okay, I apologize. Then the culture you come from rebels on you. So it puts you in a space where
that'd
you're
be
like, you know what?
crazy.
So it puts you in a space where you're like, you know what? I don't know where I fit in.
Exactly. And then, like, just think about it. You got the powers that be. You got the powers that be, and then like I got to come back to the community because I didn't do what they wanted me to do. It's what is it?
I didn't do what they wanted me to do. Where do you sit in space?
People not talking about that though. You know what I'm saying? Because people hold the culture. It's like, okay, you got us. You know, our foundation is very fragile because you know once you don't do something that we don't like, it's over.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
You know, I think, and it puts you. It puts, well, I can say for myself at least, it puts you in a tricky situation because really with everything about our culture, like there's so much to love about it, and it's so culturally rich and just the wealth of everything that's there. And I think a lot of us we hold so tight to it, and we have such an ownership of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you do anything to damage it, so to speak, like we're quick to dismiss you from it. But I think I think we need to be a little more conscious about, all right, do we want to dismiss people, or do we want to just of course, if you're a repeat offender, by all means, okay. But I think we're too quick to dismiss people without without having a conversation. Like, you know what? No, hey, maybe you should approach it this way, or maybe like let's think about what happened. But I think that's the toxic part of it. You know.
Exactly. It's the toxic part. People, like, everybody has an opinion. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, you know that.
Yeah, everybody has an opinion, whether it's right, wrong, and different, and so it'll get confusing. You dig what I'm saying?
Now, you know what I don't like about our culture, though, Max?
What's up?
And this is the thing too, and especially when it comes to mental health and what's going on. I said a few days ago, Kanye West goes on his rants, and everybody gets up in arms about it, gets upset with him, get mad,
Mm-hmm.
and Kanye gets canceled. Kanye's been canceled probably more times than anybody I know.
How many times he get canceled, bro?
But this is the thing. If Kanye West drops a hot album, that's
look at Virgil.
Let's look at it. Virgil, another one. Like Virgil got canceled. A month later, drops another shoe, and everybody's on the Virgil wave again.
What's up?
He's on the Virgil wave again. I think.
Okay. So last episode, I say, listen, man, I don't know. I didn't go too in depth with it. I'm like, yo, I don't really. I'm thinking seconds about being a part of this culture, man, because I don't know. You know what I mean? 1 minute is you know, and then 1 minute we're just, you know, exiling someone, like, yo, get them out of here.
Definitely. You know, and I think it's something I battle with. with the culture and with really with hip hop in itself. Like every few years, I find myself in a space where like you know what, I'm kind of. I feel like every few years I get to a space where like you know what, I've outgrown
I
the
know.
culture, so to speak.
I dig it.
But then again, I think I'm such a part of it, and being a child of it, and being brought up in it, and like just
Really,
being a part of you. I think when this is what it is. I think when the essence of it, the true essence of it appears and rears its head, it always pulls me back in. So I think that's what it is. I think you know I see the. I guess it goes back to almost like family almost. You know, like you see like you're with your family. It's not always gonna be rainbows and sunshine. Like there's parts of it you like. You know what? I'm not for this and this. But when the realness and the true parts of it come out, you like, you know, I can stand for this, and those things will always keep you connected. So I think it's a similar thing. Like I'm here for I can be here for what's uplifting and what speaks to my spirit, but these toxic parts I could do without.
yeah. No, I feel you. I definitely feel you coming from, man. I'm ready to, you know, I just it's too much inconsistencies with the
Oh
culture.
yeah,
You know what I
you
mean?
definitely
That's why
should.
I'm like, yo, I'm ready to jump ship.
Yeah,
You know, formulate my own, you know, thinking and my ideas. Um, you know, because it seems like once the trend is out there, just like when they were attacking Kanye, everybody was attacking Kanye. Not
oh yeah,
really like, you know, critically thinking like, okay, what is he trying to say? Like, what is he
right.
trying to, you know, where is he going with?
Right. And you know,
So,
I can say this too. I've even been guilty of it myself. I remember shortly after Kanye said that slavery was a choice thing, I was kind of like, yeah, I was like, yo, my
get him out
man's
of there.
like, I was like, yo,
Yeah,
my man's
yeah.
not even get him out of there, but it's like, yo, my man's wild.
Yeah,
Again, I've been guilty of it. And like,
I think we all are.
I've even put myself in a space where, like, you know what, I don't want to support this guy for the things he represents, so to speak. But then, like I said earlier, like he'll drop something, like you'll hear, and you'll hear you like you'll just hear this. Like you'll just hear this
Yeah.
talent on track, and you'll be like, I remember the moment. I remember hearing what would Meek do the first time,
Hmm.
and I heard a verse on it. I heard Kanye's verse, and I was like, why is this dude so fucking good?
Exactly.
I was like, yo, like, but I think that's the thing about Kanye that's one thing I would say about Kanye though. Like when I look back and reflect on like his craft and his music, like he's almost not to say he's a prophet, but Kanye's been telling us who he was from day one.
He's been telling us from day one.
Like there's so
You
many
know what I
things
mean?
Kanye said on record that you know what came true. Like even with College Dropout with Last Call, like he talks about
Right.
like I'm about to be the biggest rapper in the game. Like it says it on the debut app. Listen, that's like career suicide for a debut artist to come out and put on the last track of his album. Like I'm about to be the biggest rapper in the game. And I'm about to put his album out with no listen. And then you talking about putting out album with no expectation.
Right.
Like they even had a conversation that Dame had like on the record. It was like, yo, if he sucks, we can just throw Cameron on every record and save the album. So there was even question about him being a legit artist when the album was coming out.
Right. Right. Right.
So for him to have the vision to say like, you know what, nah, I'm about to be the best. Like I'm about to be the best at this. I'm putting on a record
Yeah.
and throws it out there. It's just crazy. Like then like you just see all these old records where he references stuff like I was listening to They Say the other day on Common's joint, and he was like Kanye references being somewhere in between the church and the insane asylum. You like that could
Way
be
back,
something
right?
that this back like early yeah. Like you think about it,
Right.
this could be a verse that he wrote like this week. And can you think about it, like that's where he is. Like the dude like just dropped a gospel album, and like now we're having a conversation about him being
He just
mentally
dropped the
disturbed.
Sunday service, and now he's in the
And now we had
insane
a
asylum.
conversation about him being mentally disturbed.
Yeah,
Dude wrote this in a record like years ago.
years ago. See what I'm saying? But that's my thing, though, Wayne. Like I hear what you're saying as far as you know. I I hear what you're saying as far as you're down with the culture, good, bad, or indifferent. But my thing is when everybody just goes along with everyone, if someone says, man, Kanye, he's done,
Right.
crazy, and then come back, puts out an album, like you say,
And
and everybody's back on that
we'll
bandwagon.
forget about it.
I can't get down with that.
Yeah,
I think
that's the dangerous part, and I think that when it becomes, I think that's when it becomes dismissive
very dangerous
to his mental health. Because like think about how many successful artists we've seen like go at extremely early ages, like just because they had some unaddressed issues, and then you look at it like especially our culture. Our culture is notorious for giving you your flowers after you're gone.
Exactly. Oh man, I'm sorry. Now you about to open up a whole heap's nest of. Oh man.
So I would much rather have the conversation about, and I think that's why a good reason to use our platform to kind of talk on and speak on it. Yes, this guy is super talented. Yes, this guy is uber gifted. Yes, this guy is quote unquote is genius.
But
even with that, like he got some stuff that he needs help.
But my thing is this: when you brought up, there's something that just touched my nerve. You said, how many times in history have someone passed that may have not got the acclaim they, in the entertainment industry or with music, but after they pass, oh man, the numbers skyrocket. They get, everybody knows their name, and think about like a guy like Pop Smoke, right?
Right.
Pop Smoke, when he was alive, like he was on the brink of like, being, what I'm saying? Like he was on the brink. Not to say he was a household name yet, but after he dies, that's when he gets ushered into that position.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a slew of others. Yeah, and a slew of others. You know what I mean? And it's so many other artists that come to mind that went through, stuff like that. It sucks, man. It's just,
Right. Crazy guy. Crazy.
Yeah,
but, I think that's another reason. Like, it's even that for me that's even a bigger reason. Like when I saw the tweets coming out, and again knowing Kanye and knowing how thoughtful he is and knowing how well he puts stuff together. Like, because Kanye has always been a master at making stuff that don't fit together fit.
Right.
So when I was on the phone with you when I saw it. So like when I saw these tweets being shot out, like and super scattered, scattered and super random. I was like, hold up, this is a guy who's like super thoughtful and who is really a wordsmith, like who's very articulate. They were typos, like it was scattered, like they were just shooting out at random, like some were coming out, some were being deleted, like it was probably the most scattered I've ever seen. I've seen them scattered before, and I've seen this like stream of consciousness, and I even seen it on stage. But like this was like a whole nother level. It was like almost like I was like like somebody, and I even talked to Jose about it. I was like Kurt. I said we need to like. I said I wonder who is there like physically with him at that moment, because I knew he was in Wyoming. But I was like, yo, who is physically with him at the moment? Because I even told Jose, I said, Jose, if I ever saw you with a phone, and I saw your Twitter feed going off like that,
right?
I said, number one, I would have took your phone from you. I like, listen, like, I understand. I like, listen, like, give me that. Like, nah, we like
the people around him, right. So the people around, and I posed a question when you were talking. I posed a question, like, how did a presidential, campaign turn into a mental health, personal, what's wrong with Kanye type of situation? Like, how does that happen? Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, who's around him? Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, to take his phone or to ask these types of questions. You know what I'm saying? And then we see, Dame, saw Dave Chappelle, a couple others. Come to Wyoming, whatever like that. But it's like, yo, what's really good? Like,
I don't know if you saw yesterday. Did you see like he went to a mental health facility? Like he went to a facility Like he went
No, I
in,
didn't see that.
so TMZ caught him going in, so he went in, but then he didn't stay. Like he came out maybe like 15. I think they said he came out maybe 15, 20 minutes later. Then he went back to the ranch, and then they caught an ambulance pull up to the ranch. So at first I saw the ambulance pull up to the ranch. I'm like, oh, did the ambulance come and pick up Kanye? But then apparently the ambulance left, and Kanye was driving around on his ATV on the ranch. So now I'm confused again. Like I don't even know what's happening here.
Yeah, like what's really going on? Like,
So,
and
but
just
I think it's to me it's kind of scary though, because I don't know what kind of headspace my man is in.
and think about it. Oh man, I don't want to do this, but we're gonna have. I think the more we talk about these issues, we're gonna have to go deep.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to go deep. You know, like what's going on with his surroundings right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like his family, and because he said a lot of he spilled a lot of family business. Like those type of things you want to keep to yourself. Like he let you know, like yo, you know what I'm saying? Like
the world
it's like crying. Like who's he crying out to? Like it's like a cry when he goes through these. When he was on Twitter, it seemed like he's crying out to let people know, like, you know, what's going on. Like,
right. On the low, it's like help me.
Yeah, like I need help. It doesn't seem like it. Like yo, I need help.
Yeah, man. So I think that's a big thing too. I think, and even seeing Kim's statement that she made, like, I mean, I'm not the biggest Kim fan, but just reading it and hearing her outcry for help. It's like just talking about how hard it is being, because I can only imagine like how hard it is being married to somebody who battles with bipolar. Like, you know, you see this person, like, you know they're mega gifted, you know they're mega talented, and they have all this to give, but you're there to see for you to be there and see the spiraling happen and to see him out of control, quote unquote, and there's nothing you can do per se, because really it's really hard to get somebody admitted if they're not if they're not a threat to themselves, saying, like, specifically saying, yeah, I'm gonna kill myself, or they're not a threat to somebody else physically. It's extremely difficult to get them admitted.
Right.
So to be able to witness it and see it, like this, especially a person you love, like, this is a person I know needs help, and they physically will not go. I especially to be there to witness that with your kids. I know that's got to be a difficult experience.
Yeah. It's something. Yeah, definitely, man.
I think the biggest thing I can say, you know, I'm not I'm not one to discount Kanye, and again, by no means am I a Kanye West apologist. I'm not speaking up for his statements or the things that I heard that come off hurtful, like the things that I don't, because there's a lot of stuff Kanye West says that I don't agree with.
Right.
But I'm not a person to give up on Kanye West the person.
Right.
So I mean, the biggest thing I can do, you know,
definitely not giving up on my guy, man. I wouldn't say I'm a, you know, right is right, wrong is wrong, but
right.
You know, my whole thing is when he, you know, blurts out, you know, these things, just give some information behind it. You know what I'm saying?
What's the context?
Yeah, what's the context? Like, you know, where you coming from with it? You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. Like everybody's a little turned. You know, let's be real. Everybody's a little cuckoo. You know what I'm saying? A little crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, man, nobody's perfect, man. So I ain't gonna chastise my guy, man. You know, I just think we live in a culture now is, you know, people are just gonna, you know, throw you to the wayside, like, man, you know,
quick, real quick,
without even asking why, like, nah, get rid of them. So we have to be careful when when people follow these trends, like, okay, why are you saying this guy crazy? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's questions. We have to ask these questions before we just go along with it.
Definitely do. All right, good deal. That was heavy. That was heavy.
Good stuff.
All right, so let's transition to our next topic. We're gonna transition right into our false narrative, and it kind of plays into some of the things we talked about already. So this conversation me and Max was having the other day. So our false narrative for this week, since we're talking about mental health, we're calling this episode entitled "Mental Wealth" because we just kind of put the parallels together. Like, you know, the African American community, you know, we tie a lot of our value, ironically, our value based on like either stuff or a monetary amount. So we place our value and our well-being on the idea of wealth, right?
Right.
But we don't tend to put those same values and those same desires and needs and wants into our mental well-being. So for that reason, we call this episode "Mental Wealth." We're trying to change the narrative, like, you know, because listen, there's nothing more powerful. There's nothing more powerful than the human brain, and, you know, that's our biggest asset. You know, so I think we need to put more. We definitely need to put more value in, you know, what's going on in your dome. So we're changing the narrative. We're turning mental health into mental wealth. We're gonna reframe the way we look at it, and we're really gonna take ownership and just, you know, just bringing healthy mental consciousness to people, and, you know, just dispelling a lot of things we didn't understand in our community. So we're trying to help get rid of some of those false narratives.
Yeah.
So with that being said, moving to today's false narrative, it's a big conception in the African American community that the church is a big pillar of the African American community, just generally, you know. So with that being said, and that's great. Like, and that's something I'm working on too. I'm working on getting to a space where I have a higher, you know, a higher vibration with my Holy Spirit. You know, so I'm working to get that space, but at the same time,
Right.
I see a lot of people who operate from that space who lean solely on their religious beliefs, and without putting in the necessary or proper work to get what you need sometimes. And I think that weighs heavily on your mental health. So I see a lot of people say when you see people who've been identified as who have mental health issues, who need help, a lot of people in our community will dismiss it as, they'll say things like, "You need prayer." Like, you need to pray about you need to pray about it. Pray about it. Like,
Go ahead and pray about it.
But it's beyond something.
You good? Pray about
it. But when it's beyond having a bad day, or I don't know how to move about this, sometimes you need the appropriate professional help. So our false narrative for this week is, we're moving from the idea of putting in God's hands alone. Then we're gonna move to, you can have Jesus in your life and a therapist.
Yes. Right.
So that's where we're taking this conversation today. So you can have Jesus and a therapist.
Just like when you go to the doctor. Like, I'm believing I'm healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm believing I'm healthy. But I just go to the doctor just to get, you know, go through the, you know, checkups or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? I believe God got me. You know, I'm good.
Right. And, you know that's the thing about it. Like, you put your faith in the idea, like, you know what, like, my doctor is gonna do what he needs to do to make sure I get back the way I need to be.
Yeah, I'm good.
You know, it's crazy,
I'm
Matt.
just taking a step further.
You know, I'm glad you said that, Matt. Like, it made me think about something the other day. Like, when it comes to your mental health, a lot of Black people write it off as, you need to pray about it, you need to go to God about it, and you'll be okay. But if you broke your leg, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't say, "Well, you should just pray about it. Your leg gonna be all right." I'm pretty sure you're gonna go to the doctor and get surgery on your leg.
I believe that.
But I just want to know why, like, when it comes to your brain, like, we dismiss
when
it
it comes
as,
to your brain, you don't need no help.
We just good. I'm gonna just pray about it. Pray about it. You're gonna be all right. Pray about it. You're gonna be all right.
Some people don't even pray about it. They just like, listen, I'm good. Keep moving.
People like shake it off.
But that goes back to, you know, what we were talking about before. You know, coming from where we came from, it's like, I can deal. I don't even need help. Some people like, let's be real.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes I might be like that. Like, man, I'm good, man. I'm straight. You know, I might not even pray about it. I'm good.
I'm guilty of it too. Like
I don't need God right now.
You get to the point where, like, you're like, listen, I got it. Like,
God, I'm cool on you right now.
I feel like it's this need and desire, and I think it feeds into our ego too. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
the desire, like, you know what, I want so desperately to be in control of
Hold
what's
on, don't do
going
that.
on.
Don't
For
do that.
real, like
Nah.
the
We're not going to do
when
that. That's going
when
to
you get,
another.
no, listen, think about it. Like, even think about it, mental health is the
You be up here
perfect topic.
preaching. You gonna be up here preaching a
Mental health,
little bit. I'm
look,
just saying.
It's Sunday, so we can.
Go ahead, man.
I feel like the idea with your mental health. I think when you're not in control of your own brain and your own thoughts,
Oh man.
like it makes you feel like I'm not in control of the one thing I should have full control over.
Hey,
Because
amen.
even as a person, there's gonna be things in your life that get out of whack. You're like, you know, I can't control this, and it's gonna set you off a little bit.
Hey.
But I think when you get to the point where, you know, I no longer have control over my brain and my body, like
Mm-hmm.
now I'm really in a space where like I don't know what to do. So I feel like a lot of
Mm.
people just rebel. So I think a lot of people, like, you know what, they fight it, like, you know what, no, I'm good, I'm good, ain't nothing wrong with me. Like it's like a fight to be in control of the little small things that, you know, you have power over.
Right.
So I think that plays into it too. So I think a lot of people deny, like they don't seek help. Be like, you know what? No, I'm in control of this. I got it. I'm good. I don't need that. And even to the point where, so you like you right, man. Sometimes you won't even go to God about it. You're like, you know what?
Nah, I'm good.
I,
Do
I'm
it.
good.
I
I'm all
do it,
power.
bro.
I'm a look. The point, like, I'm all powerful. I control me.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think a lot of
Oh,
us
but
don't. A
that's
lot of us
deep.
don't just won't turn it over, like
I
to God,
listen.
to a therapist, to a friend, to anybody.
Yeah, that's deep though, man. I ain't gonna touch on it. You did, but that's deep. I'm gonna leave it at that. You know, I wanna, you
I
know.
think no. I think in our community it's a need to. It's like this dire need. Like there's no room for vulnerability in our community. I feel
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
from again from the time we got here, from the time we got brought over on boats, like
Mm.
the idea of being vulnerable would get you killed.
Mm.
So I think
Mm.
like so I think vulnerability, like we have vulnerability PTSD in the Black community.
But you know what though? Vulnerability. Would you say vulnerability? Vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
Okay. Vulnerability. But vulnerability. Vulnerability. I can't even say. But anyway, is that? Would you say that's like equal to like honesty, like truth? Like I'm being my vulnerable self. Like this is me.
I think it spills over into
Or
that. I think it spills over into that, but I think just the idea of being vulnerable in general, like I think you look at coming here, like, you know what, again, like people in the African community, like it was this need to be strong. Like
right.
really, you think about the idea of being vulnerable, the idea of being vulnerable is just putting yourself out there, laying yourself out in the open, leaving yourself open to be, you know, I'm putting it all out there. I'm letting my guard down and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
giving you my full self. But like for
Right.
Black people, like so long, like you can't let your guard down. Like we've been taught not to let your guard down. So the idea of being vulnerable in itself is something like
Is
it's something
behind.
we've learned to use as a
Yeah.
defense mechanism. Like, no, I can't be vulnerable because I gotta survive.
Right.
So I
I
think
gotta
now that we've
survive.
gotten to, and even now, like, you know, I want to say, like, you know, now that we've graduated to a safe space where like you could be vulnerable, but even in that space, like when I think about, like when I get pulled over by the police, like, you know what, I put on my, I just put on my,
Put on
like, you
your
know what, I'm just ready. I'm like, you know, I gotta get home.
yeah. You've heard of the
So again,
saying.
so the idea of being vulnerable is like it's almost it's scary. It's like, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm putting myself out there to possibly die.
Yeah. And you said you kind of said it like, you know, love will get you killed.
Yeah, it can. I mean, so I think so. So when you
Like
try to
what?
transition it, the idea of being vulnerable is like, you know what, my survival mechanism has taught me to be anti, like these things will get me killed. So like
Right.
when you find those safe spaces, it's still hard to pull it out. So when you're with a loved one, when you're with your
Those are
therapist,
lies, though. Those are lies,
they,
though, man.
they are. You
These are
can.
what those type of ideas run rampant in our community.
In
Like
our
love will
community,
get you
like we live
killed.
with it.
What? You know what I'm saying? Like, love is like the greatest thing in the universe. So how is that? Like, that's insane. But that's another topic for another another day. Like, come on, like, what do we like? Actually, like, when we, I don't know. We did it. I think we did. We were just like talking about different stuff, and we were like, "Yo, that doesn't even sound right." Like, some of the stuff that people believe, like, love will get you. Like, what? What is that? Like, are you serious? That doesn't make sense.
I think a lot
like,
of
you actually think about that. Love would get you killed. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I think, again, I think it goes back to the vulnerability thing. Like, you know, you when you think about love, you think about, you know, being open, being vulnerable, like speaking your mind, like doing all these things that kind of go against what has been taught to us for so long. So it's like we're trying to move to this new space, and it's difficult because you're just going with your really your natural instinct. I think a lot of times, like, you know, you tend to move with your, you know, just like, you know, your self-preservation type things. I think that's been one of the key factors in the moving to a space where, like, you know, and I think that goes into our false narrative. I think, you know, Black people so long we've relied on our tapping into our religious background. We relied into like being strong. Like, so all these things have taught us, like, you know what, I don't need a therapist. I don't need to talk about my feelings.
That's just an That's just
I think you know, I think that's I think it's a habit that we've just learned. But I think, you know, this is something we need to work to get past.
Another. I mean, it seems like this show is based on just false narratives. You know what I mean?
We're gonna have a spin-off show.
Yeah, a spin-off show with false narratives, because it's like every week it's always something that is like, yo, that doesn't even
why do we do
right,
this?
or
like, why do we do
what
this?
You start thinking, like, hold on, like, really, people believe this? Like, that doesn't make sense.
And you'd be surprised, like, once you stop buying in, it like opens you up to this whole new world. You're like, yo, I never knew this existed. You like, I never knew this existed.
Exactly.
Like, just have, like, you know what's crazy, Matt? It reminds me of, like, I think black people got PTSD. Like, we really do. It reminds me of, like, me going to therapy and talking about going to therapy. And I just started, I would say, within the last 3 years. But I was like, yo, I just thought about it, like, yo, why haven't I been doing this like my whole life? Like, why haven't I been doing this? You know? But then it reminded me of, like, going to college the first time, right? And me transitioning from a school that was literally half white, half black, to going to a HBCU, to seeing all Black people all the time, right? And me coming, no, I mean, just in my head, you know, like, you know what, I'm not the, probably if you looked at me, you probably just in general, like, yo, Dwayne, you probably like you not, people say it all the time, like, you're not black, you just like
what?
Like, yeah, like, he's like, you're something else.
Stuff like that. Like, what are you talking about?
You're into non-traditional, like, things that aren't traditionally Black, right? So with that in mind, like, you just think to yourself, like, you know what, you feel the need to, like, subdue, like, play down certain things about yourself and certain character traits,
right?
And certain things. Like, for example, like I'm a fan of wrestling. Like, so wrestling isn't traditionally something like Black people are into, like, quote unquote.
Right.
Or things like which I'm not a big anime fan, but I love Dragon Ball Z growing up. But I remember like actively not saying, like, I like Dragon Ball Z, but I ain't gonna come out my mouth and say, like, straight up, like, I like Dragon Ball Z in front of these Black people. They had to look at me like I'm weird. But I remember, like, freshman year, I can't remember, it was in a dorm somewhere, and somebody had it on TV playing, and it was like an aha moment, like, for everybody in the room. It was like, you like Dragon Ball Z? Yeah, I like Dragon Ball Z. They're like, where? It was like a light bulb went off. Like, what? Black people like Black people can say they like Dragon Ball Z, and that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's like this moment. You're like, yo, like, I think Black people deal with so much trying to fit into a box of what blackness looks like. It causes this level of mental
something
stress.
Something just hit me, Wayne.
Yeah.
We're always, oh my goodness. So you're saying we're always trying to figure out what Black is, do we really know what black is?
We're trying to figure. Look, we're trying to figure out what black is. Not only we're trying to figure out what black is, how do I fit into what black is, and I think again, I think that causes mental stress because you're trying to fit into something that's not a box.
Right. Exactly. Like not knowing it's even deeper than the skin tone or you just calling yourself black. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like you know what I mean to say all these things like yo, you know what this is like,
right?
Like it. Oh man, listen, hold on.
Like what does it mean? What does it mean
What does
to
it
be
mean
black?
to be? What does it mean to be black? You know what I'm saying? Of course, somebody gonna say like, man, this is they gonna give you a rundown, some guidelines like this. This is what what I mean. It is to be black, but they don't still. They probably still.
No, they still there's still subcategories even within our community. Like this sort of means to be black, but
because
then
somebody's gonna refute that, right? Because somebody's gonna refute
then
them,
somebody can say, well, you're not black enough,
right? Because you're not
like,
black enough.
Or then they'll say things. They'll say like you'll see things like, oh, you got good hair. You ain't black. You ain't. I heard people say that. Yeah, you ain't black. I heard people say that about people.
Right.
I say, or like you didn't come from an impoverished background. Like you're not like you're not down. You're not like even in general conversation when we had with Jose a couple weeks ago talking about what were we talking about? What show were we talking about? We're talking about no, we're talking about the Cosby's. He was like, black people can't relate to that show. I was like, what do you mean? Like this is like this is somebody's black experience.
What?
So like that idea in itself, like what? There's so many.
That's so many
representations of
what we've
what
been dealing. But you know what's crazy? Yeah, and what's crazy about that, Wayne, is because black people's existence. We talk about soul food, like it's we talk about soul food, right?
Mm-hmm.
So grandma, gets diabetes, have these different issues in the family, health issues, and so that's what it is. Is that what the black family is? Is it the Cosbys? Is it Fresh Prince? Is it what I'm saying? Like everybody.
It's so many things. But I think this is the thing is I think our community is so desperately trying to pinpoint what black is versus saying all these things are the black experience. That they're all encompassing. Like we're not a
Wayne,
monolith.
I ain't gonna do it.
All these
I ain't
things.
gonna do it. I'm gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it at. Listen, man.
But again, I think that plays into black PTSD, and I think that also is a reason why we should put our mental health at a high priority because there's so many things we're battling in our community.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
We might need to turn this into like a 2-3 part episode.
Seriously, man, come on. It's like because we talk about the false narrative being, you don't need a therapist. Now God is, all powerful, and you seeing a therapist might help your situation. You know what I'm saying? Like it may help, and how many of these situations? And think about it. Think about how many of these situations that don't have God attached to it. But that's the whole other topic for another day.
And
go
listen,
ahead. Go
thing too, like even for those who take the religious the biblical route and say like, well, God's all powerful, like that's why I say just throw it on God. But this is my thing. Even this I put a challenge out to those who come from that, who have that mindset to where you don't need a therapy, you put it all on God. If you truly believe that God is all powerful and that we get our gifts from God and that God is all powerful and God is this divine power who grants us these gifts.
Okay.
Why do you look at therapy as if God doesn't give these people this ability to provide therapy to people? God gives these people these gifts. God gives people insight and
That's a
gives
good
them the
point.
ability to do things that everybody can. We all are good at different things.
That's a good point.
But I think God gives certain people the ability,
Exactly.
like, you know what, I have
So
the
why
God
do
gift to
right?
counsel.
So why would we take God out of that? Like out
So
of
why you think about
the mental wealth, the mental
right?
health. You know what I'm saying? God is all powerful, but we got to take him out certain things.
Right,
That's my point.
you got to put them off the table. You got to put them off the table. Sometimes. But I think that's if you're a person of the faith, like why do you why you say, oh, God is all powerful? Then why you pull them off the table when it comes to certain things?
Like he's not like no, he can't be in now. We gonna put him to this guy. We gonna leave you over here.
Right.
No, we ain't gonna. We gonna handle this.
We compartmentalize
Man,
too much in our community, I think.
listen, man.
But that's just something to think about. We trying to change the narrative. We're trying to change the narrative.
Oh
Uh,
man.
putting your mental health on a high regard. Think about where you are. Think about your space. Seek help. Get resources. And there's a lot of free resources out there too. Resources, free resources, and affordable resources. I just encountered a link for free group therapy yesterday, like
Okay.
on IG.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'll drop the link in the description so you guys can kind of tap into that too if you're looking for some resources. But I just highly advise everybody, like take your mental health into high regard, and then too don't be afraid to put it out there. Like, you know what, we all need help. Like we all get the points where we need it. So don't be afraid to take that step.
Right.
Real
Exactly.
talk.
Yeah, man. That again. That's some good stuff. And sometimes you just want to hold back. It's like, nah, you don't want to get, you get too deep into it, and you don't want to ruffle no feathers. So it's like, you know, it's like because the deeper it seems like the deeper you get, you might have to ruffle some feathers, Wayne.
Yeah. Oh,
Might have to.
listen. You definitely gonna get into some uncomfortable territory. Like you gonna, because you gonna unearth
Well,
some
yay.
stuff. You gonna unearth some stuff. Like you gonna
Yay.
pull some stuff up. You gonna do some digging.
Hey,
You gonna
listen,
you gonna find some stuff. But I think
your
it's
boy,
a part of self discovery.
listen, they like your boy Ye is a prime example.
Oh yeah.
Listen, he
Oh yeah.
said Harriet Tubman actually didn't free people went crazy. People went crazy, but let's say and then I'm not gonna go too deep. I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
handle it. I'm gonna let you go. But what if what Kanye said was actually? But go ahead, Wayne. We ain't gonna talk about that. But go ahead.
On the next
We ain't gonna do it.
episode of Laughing Hip
Not
Hop.
not today. Not today, because I might have to do some more research on that topic alone. You dig what I'm
All right.
saying?
So with that being said, we're gonna hop into our next topic to close us out. So we're gonna look at my top five. So the
Fine.
guy most of our conversation was surrounded today was our boy Ye. So we felt it's only appropriate for today's my top five to be this should be good. My top five Kanye West albums.
Yes, sir.
My top five Kanye West albums. So before we start, let's do this. Let's kind of talk about Kanye's career trajectory and just the body of work as a whole before we dig into the top five.
Genius level.
Oh, it's definitely. Listen, this is something I stand
Genius
by. This is something
level.
I stand by. This is something I stand by. When it comes to rap catalogs, like total body of work, rap catalogs, there's three catalogs that come to mind immediately. Jay-Z. So don't kill me, New York. So yeah, I just acknowledge Jay-Z. Jay-Z. The Southern duo, greatest rap duo of all time, Outkast. And then the third, Kanye West. And listen, and on the coattails of these three, I would probably say maybe Drake. But outside of that, like as far as complete body of work from beginning to end, Jay-Z, Outkast, Kanye West, that I don't think there's a more collective body of work, hip hop wise. Now I'm keeping it hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
that is as solid as Ye.
Right.
We think about, to be honest, like we think about it. Listen, debut album, in my opinion, one of the greatest debuts of all time. College Dropout. You see this constant progression with Ye. Like you see this early theme, like these very traditional, like these soul samples. But again, Kanye always taking what he does best, like taking things that shouldn't work on paper and sticking them into places like where they don't belong and making it work. But I think that's the story of Kanye West. You look at Kanye West, like you got this underground, very backpack rapper on a very traditional street rap label. So on paper, Kanye West should not work on Rockefeller, but it's like it just does.
Right.
Then you see you see Late Registration, a great sophomore album, moves into Graduation, goes head to head with 50 Cent, blows it out of the water, has an amazing project.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see things like you got 808s and Heartbreaks when he goes completely left, and like this does something completely different. You're like, this I don't even know if this is a rap album.
Yo, can I say something about 808s? You're definitely right. People were like, during that time, I remember because people were like, yo, what is this?
Yeah.
Like around the time his mom passed, going through breakups, whatever, had some other issues going on. And people were like, yo, what is this? No, people didn't even know how to accept.
They don't even process it. I know, I definitely do. I remember I remember hearing Love Lockdown for the first time.
Yeah, people were like,
I remember when it went off, people were like, I don't even know what this is.
Right, they don't even know what it was.
Like he's like literally having like the jungle sounds and the drums.
Yo, people didn't know what to think about it. Like, what is this?
Like the distorted production. You like, yo, like what the distorted drum. You like, yo, what is what is this? But then
people forget about that.
Infectious. And then what's my other joint? Heartless. It was like, you're like, yo, I don't like it, but it was just like, I don't know how to describe it.
Cold Winter was my joint.
Ooh. Cold as Winter was cold.
That whole album was
listen, there were so many great records on there. Amazing, Love Lockdown, Heartless.
Oh my God. Yo, Wayne, just say it right now.
Say You Will. Say You Will.
Yo, Kanye might be the.
Listen, so amazing records on 808s and Heartbreak. Listen, but Kanye
some people just made to it. Like some people just made for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just made for it.
But again, I think that's Kanye. I think that's the genius of Kanye. Like he's not afraid to try something different, try something new. But again, he does things that shouldn't work. But like again, he makes it work like some type of way.
Oh man. Oh, I love Kanye, man.
The Late Registration. What else we got?
Kanye.
We got What else we got? What was after 808s? What was directly after 808s? That's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yes. How many you name so far? Oh, this is not the list yet.
No, this ain't the list. I'm just going through the albums in general. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Another like amazing piece of work. Yeezus. Again, Kanye West comes out again, goes completely left. He's like, yo, again, people like, yo, what is this?
What is this?
Life of Pablo. Yay. Then comes out with a gospel album.
What is this? It's a lot of what is this? This is his catalog.
Definitely. And again, like he constantly doing something like, you know what, this shouldn't work, but it worked.
It's working. Oh man,
the genius of Ye. So with
top
that being said,
5, man.
so this is what we're doing. So the genius of Ye, to make this a little bit easier, we're not including collab albums. We're not including the Watch the Throne. No Kids See Ghosts. So just Kanye West solo albums are the only albums we're including into this list. So are we gonna try to do a collective list, Max?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we're gonna
started off with your honorable mention. I'm gonna just piggyback off you.
All right, so my honorable mention, it was tough. So just to narrow this down to 5. So my honorable mention, if I'm not even gonna do honorable mention because I think it's disrespectful.
Is it no order? Are we doing like no order? Like
I'm gonna try to order it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go from top to bottom. All right, so I'm not doing an honorable mention. Matter of fact, the honorable mention is Kanye West's collective body of work because each album is great in its own right.
Okay.
So we narrowed it down to 5. So I'm gonna lead in with 5. Coming in at 5 is, I'm gonna say, Life of Pablo. Life of Pablo coming in at 5. The Life of Pablo, in my opinion, was a pretty solid album, pretty great. Led in with Ultralight Beam, great track with very 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 gospel overtones.
Yeah, leading into.
So I think that, but yeah, I think going into the album, I think they kind of led into like where the where he is now with the like Jesus is King and that type of deal. So I think it was a precursor to Jesus is King with that record.
The feature with Kendrick.
The Kendrick feature, no more parties in LA. Great record. What's my other one? What's the other joint? It's a bunch of great features. There's a bunch of great records on here. What's the joint with Designer?
Mm-hmm.
What was the joint with Designer? The joint he borrowed Pam. Father Stretch My Hand. Yeah. Father Stretch My Hand.
There you
go. What else is on here? Highlights, Real Friends. 30 Hours.
Yo.
There's a bunch of great records. Fade was a great record on here.
Yo. You know what's interesting about, oh my goodness, that might be a joint, Wayne. That might be a joint we might have to go back to.
We might have to go back and do some reviews.
We might have to go back to that because that joint might have aged really, really well.
It did. I go every album that's on this top 5 list is an album I go back to frequently. But this is a tough battle. Life of Pablo just narrowly made my top 5. It just beat out a few other Kanye albums based on playback value for me, I would say. All right, number 4. Now this is kind of it hurts me to rank this album so low, but it still made the top 5. But for me, it ranks at 4. 4 coming in. Now this is the crazy part. In my opinion, this might be Kanye's best work lyrically, but I'm ranking it at 4 as overall best album. Number 4 coming in at Late Registration. 4, Late Registration. I remember this album coming out. I remember getting this album and I remember just listening to this joint in the car, like instantly falling in love with this record. Yeah, like I was just like amazed at how great this album was. You got the record. You got the Heard 'Em Say with Adam Levine. And again, you know what? I'll say this too. I remember, and this goes back to our conversation earlier. Like you just felt the need to kind of keep certain things to yourself being Black. I was a big Maroon 5 fan. like a huge Maroon 5 fan. I had songs about Jane. Like I loved the album, and I kind of kept it to myself. I'm like, I gotta keep it to myself. Like it's a great album. I'm about to tell them about listening to this. But then when Kanye drops Late Registration and one of his lead singles has Adam Levine, I'm like, yo, no, I'm like Adam Levine from Maroon 5. So it was like,
ecstatic. You were ecstatic.
It was like, oh, it's okay. Look, I had a moment. I'm like, oh, it's okay to like Maroon 5. I was like, that's the thing. That's the thing as a Black person.
Right.
So I remember heard him say, I just loving being in love with the record. Heard him say it was a great record. Listen, I remember Houston taking over the rap game around that time and Kanye having the feature with Paul Wall on Drive Slow.
Drive
Listen,
Slow.
Drive Slow. Listen, Drive Slow is like one of my favorite records of like still like of all time. Like Drive Slow.
Sierra Leone.
What else was on here? Oh, the
Yeah,
joint with the game Crack Music.
Crack Music was tough.
Listen, I heard that beat though. Boom, 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 boom.
Crack Music was tough.
Crack Music was my joint.
My joint, Sierra Leone.
Oh yeah,
That was my
listen,
joint.
Diamonds. Listen, has the conversation about the. Listen, it was kind of it was hummings about the Rock and what was going on with the Rock at the time.
Right.
So like, then Kanye just threw it out there, like, you know, I'm about to throw the family business on record, and they just put it out there for everybody to see.
Right.
What else is on there? Oh, the record. Listen, one record Kanye wasn't even on My Way Home with Common.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kanye just gifted the record, like, you know what, Common, you know, just do this record on my album. I'm not even gonna be on it like that.
Right.
Oh, listen, the introduction to Lupe Fiasco, Touch the Sky.
Right.
Another great record. One of my favorite records, We Major with Nas. Nas and Really Though. One of my favorites. Listen, I remember this is back when we had back when we still had landlines. We had a room phone, and me and Jose was roommates, and we legit recorded Go onto our voicemail on the room phone. Oh man, like this album really brings back a lot of great memories for me. So that's why it comes in at 4. All right, moving to number 3. Number 3 on our list. It's a big one, big moment. I think this when Kanye becomes a superstar, in my opinion. Graduation.
Oh
that
man,
list at 3.
Crazy playback, crazy
playback value.
Crazy.
Listen to this day. Like, listen, can't
Good
tell
morning.
me nothing. Listen, can't tell me nothing. Like, depend on the day you ask me. Can't tell me nothing. It might be my best Kanye West, my favorite Kanye West song. If you really ask, if like for real, can't tell me nothing might be the, like, in my opinion, like, to me, like, one of the best records ever made, in my opinion, as far as like it's just like, you listen. And speaking of mental health, if I feel bad, if I put on Can't Tell Me Nothing, like it just goes away. Like when the record come on,
I used to play that song for years. I used to play that song for years.
Again, it goes back to the money again. Nah, wait till I get my money, right?
Wayne, it's certain songs that you be like, yo, this like the best song ever.
Hey, listen, you know what I love about that record? No, listen, the fact that the Jeezy ad-lib, yo.
Imagine when do you remember when you first heard that? Like, yo, what am I listening to? Like, what is this?
God, listen.
What is this? No, I think we were together.
We were there. We had been there. This is
Yeah.
Because this is
I was like, what is this?
Senior year. I literally remember listening to this record. Like, I remember listening to this joint. I listened to this album like every day. Student teaching, yo.
That's when the blocks was like the truth. Like, you just go online. That was like the thing to do. Like,
Kanye University, like, was huge. Matter of fact, this is when the Glow in the Dark tour. Remember? This is around Glow in the Dark tour time. Like, listen, I'm still salty. We didn't remember because we were talking about going to the show. We were talking about going to the Charlotte show and the Atlanta show, and we didn't go. But I remember this how you know we was broke. Tickets were literally like $50.
Right.
And it was Kanye West, NERD, Rihanna, Lupe Fiasco.
God.
$50. And we missed that joint. I was like, that's the show. Listen, that's the show I regret not going to till this day.
To
this day. Because with the whole team was talking about, I remember you, me, Kurt, E, like the whole team was ready to, like, yo, we gotta go see this joint. But that that album, it was a great moment in time.
But that time period, around that time, like, that was like,
listen, this kind of reinstilled my love. Again, when I talked about kind of falling off with rap, like, this kind of just reinstilled that love again. Like, yo, like, yeah, I can't leave.
Yeah, because hold on, let's take it there, because around that time, I think when I started going to school,
That's what the snap movement was big. It was real heavy.
yeah, the snap movement, like the early 2000s, it was kind of like going into that. It had like a little window, like a little,
like
because the snap was taking off,
that
and down
movement.
south was
Atlanta was
Atlanta,
big.
yeah. So it was like if you was like an East Coast guy, it was like what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then that's when it was like it started to even out. That's like the blogs started to come in.
The blogs came back.
Kanye,
you saw a lot of these young cats.
You start to see this resurgence. You know, the
my
Midwest.
my first like Wale. I was kind of introduced to Wale by the DC Kids for the first time.
Yeah, Drake was making his. Drake was coming up through the ranks.
Early Drake.
You know what I'm saying? We saw this resurgence from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because it was East Coast heavy, and then you know what I mean.
Yeah, so I think this album was a kind of a precursor to like that blog movement, that sound, all these new artists, and then too, I think this is kind of a precursor to 808s when like Flashing Lights. When I heard Flashing Lights first time, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely like this is. I was like, yo, this is like nothing I've heard from Kanye West before.
What is going on?
The Lion Great records, Big Brother, Homecoming, Glory, Stronger, Good Morning.
Stronger was different.
But the Stronger was different, yeah.
Different, but it felt right though.
That Daft Punk sample, yo. And listen, when he I forget what show he was on. He performed Stronger, and Daft Punk like actually performed it with him. They was like playing like the live like. I was like, oh my god! I was like, and again, another example of Kanye just like pulling stuff in. That's my introduction. That's my introduction to Daft Punk. I became a Daft Punk fan because of that record.
Because of that record.
That record like this like excited me like yo what like yo who these two robot dudes yo like they're artists and like just dug into his catalog like yo I'm like yo what is this yo like. So I really contribute Kanye to a lot of like my musical palette, like going forward and going backwards, like even with a lot of the samples, like a lot of samples, like hearing how well they were done, like not realizing they were samples, like just. And when I discovered they were samples, it's almost like what, like you tell me like somebody played this originally. So it just sent me on this rabbit hole to discover like all these old classic records that I had never heard before. So Kanye West was like Kanye West is low key like my music teacher.
Yeah, would you say like Kanye is like people would say like Jay would be like Jordan of music.
Of rap.
What would be Kanye? What would be like Kanye's like who would you?
Kanye might be Braun, yeah. He might be Braun.
That's fair.
He's like, but I don't even know. Like Kanye, like he's kind of set a path like all his own though.
He kind of set his path on his own. Like that's what I'm saying. If it ain't MJ, it's like LeBronish, or it's just like Kanye just in the league of his own type of thing. Like
yeah, so it's like, cause like even with the success, it's like yo, he's done it. Like he's done it all. So it's hard to pinpoint. Because even when I look at it now, like if I had to list my top 5 artists of all time, like I would put him over Jay in my opinion. Like I gravitate more to Kanye West.
I don't see the thing about it. That's a good point because if I had a top 5, it'll probably be. You right, man. I'm gonna have to put Kanye probably be. I don't even want to say it though. Kanye probably just off everything you just said. Kanye probably be like number 1, y'all.
Cause listen, real talk.
I don't even do lists.
Listen, I don't really like doing lists either because it's so extensive and so many things go into it. But I normally keep an active list. Like I have an active list of guys. Like if they drop something, because the older I get, the harder it gets for me to delve into music. The harder it gets for me to delve into music, even from people I'm fans of per se. But like I have an active list of guys. Like if they drop something. If they drop a project, I'm gonna go.
You gotta go.
I'm gonna go listen to it like ASAP.
Everybody from TBA.
And that list, it's not even everybody to be honest at this point. And the reason I say it's not everybody because they may drop something, I may get to it, but I don't necessarily feel a need to jump on it. Like if Absol drops something, I'm an Absol fan, big Absol fan. but I'm not necessarily gonna feel the need to like I need to download this now and go listen to it. But
Right.
like Kendrick is there. Like Kendrick drops something. If Kendrick drops an album, nine
It's
times out of ten,
automatic.
nine
It's
times
automatic.
out of 10 at midnight, I'm downloading. I'm listening to this junk.
Yeah, like certain
Kendrick,
artists, like the older
certain
you
artists
get,
is
like
like
you
that.
said, I find myself being more hip to like the singles. Like a single let me know, like I hear a single, like, oh snap, let me check out this artist.
You know what?
You know what I'm saying?
Even with singles, I don't know. I think the game has changed so much. I don't know. I don't know if singles. I don't know if singles hit the same like they used to. Singles used to get you excited for the album, but nowadays, like a lot of
I
times,
mean,
you'll get the
yeah,
whole
that's the
project.
point. Like
A lot
if
of
I
times,
feel
you'll get
like
the whole
it's
project before the single even drop.
yeah, nah, because the single, what it does for me is let me know if I can dig you, as an artist. Like, all right, let me check you out, like a
Yeah.
little, you know what I'm saying?
Now, I
Like before I
definitely
even get to a
singles are
project.
still. I would definitely say singles are still big for me for artists. I'm not necessarily on the. If I'm not on the bandwagon yet,
Yeah,
if I'm not on the wave yet, the single will sell it. But like for
yeah,
artists I'm invested in. You know, I almost want to hear the whole thing.
yeah, yeah. Like certain artists, is like, yo, I hear something like, or you know
So
what I'm
like,
saying, or it's like, all right, you
yeah.
might have a hit,
But like the guys I think about, like Kendrick dropped something, I'm gonna get it immediately.
Yeah.
And most of the guys are active. Kendrick, Cole, um, even Sean. If Sean drops something, I'm gonna drop what I'm doing to go get it.
Sidebar,
Big Crit's one. What's up?
sidebar. The two J. Cole records he just dropped. Tough.
I heard
Flames.
one. I heard one. Got to listen to the other one. But
Flames.
yes, there were
Flames.
flames. If Jay Z drops something, I'm
Yeah.
still. If Jay Z drops something, I'm still
Right,
gonna get
right,
it.
right.
But the person I think of most frequently, like Kanye West drops an album, like I'm gonna go get it almost immediately. I'm gonna listen to it. But I feel like for me, like, and again, I've got to a place where like I have a love-hate relationship with Kanye West sometimes, but like his musical quality is so strong, like he will always get the benefit of the doubt with me at least.
Yeah, no, it's almost like is Kanye like our favorite rapper?
I easily say like he's like Kanye West
Just
is an
from like a
influence.
Listen, like
Matter of fact, you know what's
fashion,
crazy, Max? Yeah, you going exactly where I'm going.
production,
Like exactly where I'm going with
wise.
as a whole, as a full body of work. Kanye has had the most influence on me in terms of what I listen to, in terms of my style, in terms of the production, like
You see them.
every facet,
What?
every facet
No
has
question.
influenced me. Like, so it's
No
easily.
question.
So to say Kanye
Easily.
West is like the so for me, if I made a list of the Kanye West is the greatest to ever do it, like I wouldn't even argue. I wouldn't even argue with. I wouldn't even argue with.
Somebody
Listen,
had to say it, man.
somebody gonna come on the
Somebody
show and
had to
debate.
say it.
Somebody gonna come on the show and debate. Kanye West, the best artist of all
Yo,
time. Then I'm gonna sit there like,
Kanye is the best art. I didn't want to say it. I'm still kind of holding back, like, cause I'm like, yo, I don't even do no list. I love all the
listen, look,
artists.
I ain't want no smoke with nobody. But like,
Listen,
if
I'm a
you would
big
say that,
Wu fan.
I love
You
the
dig what
Wu.
I'm
I love
saying?
Wu. I love the
But
Wu.
Kanye,
Yeah, he's a guy.
but who
Yeah,
has
he's
the
a guy.
most influence on you though?
We talk
Like,
about influence there. We can't influence like Kanye easily. Like, cause even with Jay Z, even as great as his music was, I never looked at Jay Z and said, you know what, I want to. I never said like, oh, I want to dress like, I want to look like Jay Z. I want to dress like Jay Z.
oh no, I definitely am a yay.
So Ye, like I would see Ye
we
and like,
so
yo,
I
I
got
want
a
that. You know,
shameless
I want
plug
that.
too. I got a shameless plug, but
What's that?
that's after
We're gonna
we
say
cut.
that. We'll say that for the next. That's the next segment.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's jump back into the list. Number two. This listen. Number one and number two were a toss up. Coming in at number two, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Coming in at number two. Listen, maybe one of the listen. Easily, in my opinion, the best album of
That
recent
year.
of
Yeah.
that year easily, but I'm
Oh,
gonna take a
easy.
step
But
further.
like the
This
last
album,
10.
this album is the best album to come out like in the last 15, probably probably the last easy
10,
last
15
10 years,
years.
10, 15 years, bro. Like easy. Like so many great records. Like the intro, the fact that the Nicki Minaj doing the narration on the intro, I was like, you know, we big Wu fans. The Raekwon feature, all the lights, all the lights got like 20 people on it. I'm like, yo, like how's Kanye West like doing this? Oh, listen, arguably, not even arguably, the greatest verse Nicki Minaj ever spit out of her mouth is on this album, on Monster. So man,
Wayne, I'm going there.
I think that's a highlight too. Like Kanye
Wayne, I'm
West is
going there.
also an artist that he's not afraid to highlight other people on his project.
Wayne, I gotta go there.
Where you going?
They gonna hate me. I don't know. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna speak that.
Where you
but
going?
Is Kanye West more influential than Tupac?
As a musician, yes. Maybe not as a figure, but as
Tupac is like
as
crazy.
a pure musician. Yeah. I think the thing that makes Tupac stand out. Tupac was like, he was almost. I don't know. They almost had the same. I hate to say it. I mean, not to hate to say it, but in a way, they kind of have the same energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they come from that same tree. Like Tupac, and again, I was too young to kind of to remember it, but like going back and like in my adulthood, watching the interviews and watching the movie and seeing the way he talks and seeing this multifaceted guy,
Mm-hmm.
but also seeing this very brash, like I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say what I want. Like I'm just me. So like you see the same energy there, but it's kind of presented. It's kind of presented different.
Right.
Like Tupac was definitely probably more of a radical. But then again, like Kanye, I think his genius, like Tupac, I think Tupac's genius is in his connection with people. Like just like I think people just felt connected to him. Like he felt like a real person. But I think Kanye's genius lies in his ability to create.
Yeah.
I think Kanye is so thoughtful, and he takes everything into mind when it comes to his work. And I think that's what the whole election thing. Like I don't even know if it's like people like what is he standing on? What's his policy like? Listen, I'm like, listen, that ain't how Kanye think. I think Kanye's looking at this thing like this is a project. Like I want like what is the production gonna look like? Like what's the production gonna?
Did you say that?
I think I might have said it. Like
what's
the production gonna look like? I think Kanye West is probably thinking about when I show up to the Democratic National Convention, like what song is gonna play when I walk out. Like what's gonna be on the monitors?
He thinking of like
what's gonna be on the monitors?
Hey Kanye, we got people lives at stake right there, bro. Come on, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
Listen, he probably got he got Yeezy merch for the audience when they get there. Like, I want the crowd to hear.
No, Kanye, no. Come on, bro.
I told him, I like, listen, he ain't thinking about policy. He's thinking about this is a project.
Yeah,
like,
this is
Kanye 2020 is a project. This man, he ain't thinking about.
It's a project. Like it's like a project.
It's
Kanye, you got people's lives.
So this is the thing about so when Kanye West comes out and he says these things, like it's part of the show.
Yeah, come on, Kanye.
So I think that's where it comes from. So I think Kanye's genius lies in like his work, like his work and what he does.
Yeah.
I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is definitely a great example of that. Like it's probably one of his best bodies of work. Like you see, like range wise, it's probably the most diverse album he's had.
Yeah.
Blame Game with John Legend, amazing record. So Appalled, Swiss Beats, Jay-Z, Pusha, Sci-Hi, RZA, another Wu-Tang guy. Gorgeous, Kid Cudi and Raekwon, great. Power, amazing record. Power, amazing record. With a hidden message. What Kanye says, schools is closed, prisons open. So we ain't got nothing to lose. Motherfucker, we rolling. Like I like, man, like he's always dropping. Listen, Kanye has always been subliminally dropping these nuggets. Like
that's what I'm saying. Come on, man. Come on.
What's another one? We mentioned All the Lights. Oh, Runaway. Listen. Also like the just doing stuff that don't make sense, but it works. Song comes on just a single keystroke.
Yo, this album is full of that. Like, yo, this doesn't. Why you got this artist with this artist on here? You know what I'm saying? Yo, my Dark Twisted Fantasy is full of that. Like, how did this happen? How did this collab just come?
Oh, another great record, Devil in a New Dress with Rick Ross.
Say less.
In my opinion, one of Ross's best verses of all time.
Yo,
great
Wayne,
great record.
Best song ever. Alert. It may not be, but like, yo, that has potential to be like honorable mention of best songs ever.
Devil in a New Dress was like, I remember the first time hearing Devil in a New Dress. I remember the Good Friday series. He was dropping records, and I remember hearing Devil in a New Dress. I'm like, oh my god.
Like, what?
And listen, number one, I thought like, yo, how is this dude putting out new records every Friday and they all hit like crazy. All right,
yeah, we're gonna have to do a ode to Kanye episode, but go ahead.
We're gonna do a whole ode to Kanye. We're gonna all rock the Yeezy merch. We gonna drop
I sold mine. Like
we're gonna drop the whole budget on some Yeezy kicks for the team.
Oh man, I'm probably it's crazy. You probably go to Marshalls right now and cop like a Yeezy
sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Those are the good days. You walk in Marshalls, find some.
Yeah. You still could. I think you still can.
You still can. You might find. Look, you might find you mess around and find a pair of Red Octobers sitting in a Ross.
Oh my god. But it's crazy because now, as you go forward, it's like, would they even know if that's the Hypebeast would know? They would know.
Hypebeast would know. Hypebeast would know, and somebody gonna snatch it. Yeah. Like they would have to wind up somewhere like Timbuktu, just sitting there like a random Ross somewhere, and somebody's still gonna know what it is.
Yeah.
Somebody's still gonna know what it is. They're gonna post about it like, yo, I just found a pair of Red Octobers in Ross.
And $10 like where? Like, what?
And listen, this crazy part. It don't even matter what size it is. Let me find a pair of size 15 Red Octobers. I'm buying them.
Oh God.
And Ross buying them.
Like, seriously.
They're like, yo, why are you buying a size 15 shoe? They Red Octobers. Be quiet.
Exactly.
Mind your business.
Exactly.
All right, so let's move into our number one record. This goes without saying. We're gonna best Kanye West album of all time, in my opinion. We're gonna go where it all started. The College Dropout.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, amazing. Listen, amazing. Listen, in my opinion, when I list my best favorite albums of all time, College Dropout is forever in the top 5. And that's every project, every rap project I've ever heard. College Dropout stays in my top 5 forever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, listen, introduction to Kanye Through the Wire. Man, rapping with his jaw wired shit. That Shaka Khan sample.
Right.
Man, slow jams with Twista and Jamie Foxx. Another great, amazing record. Workout Plan. Jesus Walks.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got here? We Don't Care. All Falls Down. Listen, even the like what you would consider like B cuts, like in my opinion, like some of my favorite records from this album, like Never Let Me Down is like still probably like one of my favorite songs of all time, much less Kanye West song.
Mm-hmm.
Get 'Em High with Talib and Common. And again, like even looking at the track listing now, like looking at it now, like even looking at this, I'm like, you know what? Like this is like this assortment of features, like you got people featured with each other, like where else, on what other album could this happen on?
Right.
That you got people like GLC and Consequence, and Selena Johnson, Jamie Foxx, Twista, Ludacris, Jay-Z, Common, Talib Kweli. Like you have this long range, Most Def, Freeway, like the Harlem Boys Choir. You like, yo, like this dude is like throwing stuff that
right.
Kanye West like pulls out like a vision board and just like
throwing
Just start throwing stuff at him.
exactly.
Like,
Yo,
we gotta
he's
make this
been doing
record.
that.
Been doing
Like
that.
you say, he's been doing like what just bringing stuff together that doesn't make
Like
that
this
wouldn't
stuff
make sense.
that shouldn't go. Like
That shouldn't go.
you wouldn't
And
find
this
this
was
collection of
another.
artists
It's
together.
he's always done. Not only with Beautiful Dark Twisted Fan, like his first
Yeah, we talking about College Dropout now. Like,
his
just look at the
first
feature
joint
on
was
here.
like that. Like just
Yeah,
like yo, it just goes to show his level of
he's
expertise, man.
crazy. But College Dropout. It really for me it takes me back. Like it's like a moment in time. I remember this because it came out my senior year of high school. So I remember listening to this album and just falling in love with it immediately and being like, yo. And really felt torn. Like, you know what? I'm like, yo, like I love this joint. Like it really like for a minute, like I really questioned, like, yo, I ain't going to college, yo. Like, what am I going to college for? Like, yo, what am I going to college for, yo?
Right.
I ain't with them. Like the skits about the when dude talking about his dad. Like, my dad died. And all the other homeless kids have newspaper, but I got degrees. I got his degrees. They keep me warm at night. I was like, oh man. And this is what I love too. Like this is still when skits were still big. Kanye West was throwing skits in there, like
Oh yeah.
these mega funny skits. Yo, like, man, this like hip hop album like 101. Like listen to College Dropout. Amazing, amazing, amazing project. And then like we talked about earlier, last call, like just like one last call, just the record was like 12 minutes, like and like the majority of it's just him talking and telling stories. Like yo, like why do I feel compelled? Like if it comes on now, like I listen to last call from beginning to end. Like why do I feel compelled to listen to this record and hear this man tell his story like at the end of it, like literally just talking over the beat, not even rapping no more. I'm like, yo, this was something special. This record this album was definitely something special.
Yeah.
But you got any more takes from the from College Dropout?
I think you just got them. Got them all.
Oh man,
had Free on there. Had my man Free on there.
Listen, that's one of my favorite records too. With Free and Most, 2 words.
Yeah. Oh man,
2 words is my joint. 2 words to this day. Man, like, bruh. You had Chicago, New York, and Philly all in one place at one time.
Man, shout out my man GLC.
Oh, listen, love GLC to this day.
To this day,
GLC, my guy. Spaceship might be one of my favorite records.
Oh yeah.
Matter of fact, even the interlude going into it, I'll Fly Away, like that little interlude going into Spaceships.
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh, stupid.
Man, and see, it's crazy. We started talking about, Ye and his, but Ye always been.
Yeah, always.
It's like,
always.
Ye always been.
He always been.
And then his level of genius. And it's funny how we started with the show and ended up, praise. Giving him his flowers.
Giving his props.
You know what I'm saying? Giving his props, giving his flowers. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters, man.
Definitely. So let's review the list one more time. At 5, Life of Pablo. 4, Late Registration. 3, Graduation. 2, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And coming in at 1, Where It All Began with The College Dropout. My top 5 Kanye West albums. But again, we like to have this be a conversation between us and the supporters and the followers. So share with us your top 5 Kanye West albums. To be honest, like Kanye West's body of work is so great. Like you could really make this list however you want it.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
However you want it. Oh man, it's been an amazing episode, man.
Oh man, it's been a dope episode, man.
We had some hiccups yesterday.
Listen, man, we had to record. We had to go from Facebook to. We had to go to.
We're live on Facebook.
No, hold on. We had to go from what's the name of this one?
So we was on Zoom.
We had to go from Zoom to Facebook. Facebook, back to
then we
Zoom.
went back to Facebook again, back to Zoom. Then we hopped on IG Live, had the conversation.
Deleted
Video
that.
the video
Couldn't get back
disappeared.
on. Couldn't get back on
Couldn't
IG.
get back on IG the
No,
second time.
man.
Hop back on Zoom. Couldn't get back on Zoom. But we back this morning. Got the recording in. Had the conversation. And those that hopped on yesterday on the IG and Facebook.
Oh, man, shout out to
thank you.
everybody that hopped on.
Shout out to everybody hopped on. Had a conversation. Had an amazing conversation last night on Instagram.
Yes.
If you were there, you were able to see it. But we pretty much summed up that conversation here today for you guys. We'll be loading this up to YouTube pretty soon. But as always, we're gonna wrap up with our shameless plug. Shout out to our supporters. Shout out to everybody who's been engaging with us. We really appreciate it. Again, shout out to our brother Jose in his absence.
Hello, Jose.
Follow us on our platform, our individual platforms, at Mr. Nettles, at Maximilian.s,
yes,
at King Jose Rivera Instagram. But most importantly, follow the collective at Laughs and Hip Hop Podcast on IG. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Laughs and Hip Hop.
Hey, you got some merch over there too, bro.
Oh, got some merch in the back. Merch is coming real soon. Mr. Nettles merch is coming real soon. Be on the lookout for that. Also, catch me on Tuesdays at R&B Grill performing open mic every Tuesday.
Yes, sir, Ski.
Catch me in there slinging these jokes.
Hey, they got hip hop. Hip hop performers. Yeah.
They have a karaoke night. I don't know if they have them. I mean,
yours is straight comedy night.
We straight comedy. On Tuesday, we straight comedy.
Oh, okay,
we straight comedy.
Yeah, Tuesday straight comedy. Okay.
We got a DJ. We do comedy. Normally myself and maybe 4 or 5 other local comics in Columbia coming out, slinging these jokes. Been a great turnout. If you're in the Columbia area, please come check us out every Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
Keep 'em out. Yo, we might have to do like another fashion episode too, man, coming up in the future sometime. I wanted to give because I know you talking about Griselda.
Shout out the boys. The boys.
Shout out Griselda, Benny the Butcher, Conway, The Machine, West Side Gun. West Side Gun as a fashion designer got some dope stuff.
I saw the joint you sent me, Max. Like, I'm not even a fan per se. And I was like, I definitely respect what they do, but I saw the merch and I was like, yo, this joint right here.
Been doing it too. Getting busy. Like his eyes crazy. Like, yeah, you're gonna see some things. He been doing this thing on the fashion tip heavy. So yeah, I was kind of upset I didn't, give him his due, but we're gonna have another episode.
We got in. Look, that's the plug. We plug the guys out there. We support Black-owned business. We support the artists.
Oh yeah, facts.
We definitely want to see
the Black-owned business
thrive. Oh, listen, I forgot. Shameless plug. I got shout out our brother Bilal. Bilal has a message for Max. Bilal said Max got to stop wearing his the Oakland Raider gear on the show. So shout out Bilal, Oakland Raiders fan. We hope to have him on the show real soon.
Listen,
guy goes back real far with us.
Listen, man, I'll be getting attacked in the comments, man. It's been a lot of, and I won't give nobody
a lot of Max Speed hate in the comments.
Listen, I ain't going back with nobody, man. We ain't going back. Listen, we ain't going back with nobody. We gonna keep. Listen, how many subscribers we got? We got like. Oh, just gonna keep going up.
Thanks to the subscribers, we're pushing very close. We're close to 500. We're approaching 500 followers. Let's see. I'm gonna give you an updated.
You're not gonna hear you ain't gonna hear me talk about nobody. Not enough.
489 followers.
Oh, we there.
We almost there. Listen.
Yes, sir.
By the time we get this posted, we're trying to get to 500. Let's get us to 500 followers.
Yes,
follow the page on IG. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. Help us get the views up. Last week's video has been the most successful to date. We want to keep that energy going.
Keep that energy.
Please like, subscribe. And we just appreciate the love so far, man. It's been an amazing ride. Looking forward to having more conversation with you guys. And we hope to see you guys soon. So this is my brother Max.
Yes, sir.
Your boy, Mr. Nettles.
Mr. Nettles.
Our homie King Jose Rivera.
What's
And
up?
collectively, we are the Last in Hip Hop podcast. We'll see you guys real soon. Peace.
Peace.